Okay, the next segment we're going to look at is chamber music. And there is a lot of really interesting chamber music that Beethoven wrote. Of course, he's famous for his string quartets. He wrote some really interesting woodwind music. We just have been working on the Beethoven Septet, which is a piece of mixed chamber music. And then there's sonatas. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. So I actually really limited this category because for one, I really don't have a ton of experience with Beethoven's chamber music beyond my own performances of the wind chamber music. Really basically as a listener to things like the string quartets and the sonatas. And also because I just had to put a limit on this in this playlist. We couldn't have 5 hours of music. And so at a future point, maybe I'll do a program on classical chamber music. I'd love to do something like that. But in the meantime, two very interesting recordings of Beethoven's chamber music. The first is by a chamber orchestra called A Far Cry. And they are a wonderful conductorless group based in the Northeast. We actually have kind of a neat connection with them. We're co-commissioners alongside of them for the Glass Piano Concerto, which we performed with Simona Dinnerstein. And I just think they've done wonderful work since their founding pretty recently. I'm not sure when they came online, but last 10, 15 years, something like that. And they play with a tremendous amount of energy and insight, as you would imagine, from an orchestra that doesn't work with a conductor. Requires a whole different kind of effort among the musicians. And they bring that to this wonderful recording of Beethoven's Opus 132 Quartet, which is really one of the landmarks in Beethoven's compositional career and a landmark in string quartet writing. And there has been a tradition of taking this piece and some of Beethoven's other pieces and performing them in the string orchestra setting. So rather than get into the whole debate of who is the best string quartet for playing Beethoven's string quartets, I decided to pick a recording of a chamber orchestra playing a Beethoven string quartet. And I think you're going to find this a really compelling recording. Following that, another really fascinating and beautifully done new recording of Beethoven's quintet for winds and piano. This is a piece I've played a number of times, and it's one of only two very well-known pieces for this combination. You've got Mozart's for the same group, I think in the same key as Beethoven's. So it's a nice example of kind of the connection between Mozart and Beethoven that we discuss on our Celebrating Beethoven concert. And it's also just a wonderful chamber music combination. When you hear the piano concertos of Mozart and Beethoven, you hear the interplay of the winds and the piano so often. So to have this setting with the chamber group of winds with piano is really like having a very special, almost micro concerto. And this group, which I haven't been that familiar with until I started researching this particular project. I mean, this is the newest recording to me of everything that you're going to hear during this radio hour. This recording is by a group called Ensemble Dialoghi, which I guess is an Italian ensemble. And they play on period instruments. You're going to hear a forte piano instead of a modern grand piano. I like that sound myself. I think it offers some different opportunities for interpreting the music and thinking about the sonic textures in Beethoven's music. And they just play with such a wonderful attention to detail, a great feeling for rhythm, and just beautiful clarity and textures. I love this recording, and I can't wait to learn about more of their work. Finally, in the chamber music area, I kind of diverged a little bit and I included a song for voice and piano. Again, we could have a whole separate category of that type of music. And of course, Beethoven wrote songs, but wasn't nearly as well known for doing so as some of the composers who followed him, like Schubert and Schumann. But he wrote some beautiful music, and this is just one of my favorite recordings, bar none, of vocal music, regardless of whether we're talking about Beethoven or any other composer. This is by an amazing singer named Fritz Wunderlich, who died tragically at a fairly early age, but not before he made some of the greatest recordings of all time of some of the great vocal works from this period. This is a piece called Resignation by Beethoven, and I think all you have to do is just enjoy the quality of Fritz Wunderlich's voice and the insight that he brings to Beethoven's music. So enjoy a little bit of intimate chamber music by Beethoven, and we'll be back again with another segment in just a couple of minutes.